Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of a Moat webinar. My name is John Neal. I'm based over here in the UK. I'm the VP of Education at Moat, and I'm joined by the wonderful Eleni. Hi, Eleni. How are you?
Hi, John. Delighted to be here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Eleni Karitsis, and I'm based in Melbourne, Victoria, who are currently in our fourth lockdown. I'm also deputy head at an independent girls' school here, and I also work part-time for Mote as a community leader. So I reached out to John. I said, I think we need to run one of these webinars to just support Victorian teachers and also anyone else who's wanting to join and see what Mote is about. Welcome, and hopefully you'll get something out of today.
Perfect. Thank you, Eleni. So what we're going to do today is, just in case you are brand new to Moat, Moat is a voice messaging solution that works across Google's ecosystem, but also we are expanding outside as well. The idea being that by typing less and talking more, we are able to save time. We are able to help improve our relationships with students and lots of other good stuff along the way too. And if you stick around for the end of the webinar, we're going to give you an exclusive code that will give you access to 3 months of our premium tier. How good is that, Eleni?
Really good, because I know for many teachers here in Melbourne, that code is going to be really useful, because I know a lot of teachers used Mote during our lockdown period last year and may have dropped off. But there's been a lot of new updates, and that's what we want to go through today, to show teachers all the new features that have been released this year that they may not be aware of, and how they can really enhance your classroom, your students, not only for lockdown, but also when we finally get back into the classroom, which fingers crossed isn't too far away. I've got everything crossed, John, hoping we get out of this. But either way,
it is all crossed. It's all crossed.
Hopefully everyone gets something out of this of how Mote can enhance your classroom.
Exactly. And we're going to be sharing some of those examples today. I can see we've had a few people join us in the chat too. If you have any questions, please just drop them into the chat, and we'll also share with you a link at the end with one or two of the best channels and ways in which you'll be able to contact us after this webinar too. But without any further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump into our first part of the demo. So here we are. This is, for those of you that aren't familiar, this is Google Classroom's grading workflow. Okay, so previously, what I would have done here as a teacher, if I want to comment on my students' work, is I would have found the particular part of the students' work that I want to drop a comment onto. In this case, it's going to be this bit of fish and chips. I'm going to tap on comment, and I get this comment dialog box pop up. So I'd type my comment in, I'd share it with a student, and I'd wait for them to respond. What I can do with Mote, and you can see that I've got Mote installed. I can also just check that I've got it installed by looking up here at the top right-hand corner of my browser. If I've got it installed, I've got this icon. And when I tap the icon, this is where the magic happens. So here we go. Hi there, you've made a great start to this assignment. If you need any help before next class getting the final 3 or 4 boxes sorted out, please give me a shout and we can connect before the lesson. Thank you. So this is ready to go. And when I press comment, what happens is it takes my voice note and it converts it into a clickable interactive card that sits within the comment. With the extension installed, all that Dwight would need to do to access my comment is to tap on the play button. Hi there, you've made a great... And he would then get that playing back for him. Okay. Now, what I'm going to show now is one of the features from our unlimited version, which is transcription. So to turn transcription on, I'm just going to tap once on the Mote icon, just up here, go to settings, and I'm going to toggle on enable voice transcription. This is really important. So choose the transcription accent that suits you the best. So I'm going to go for English UK. Now, you'll notice as well that probably for our friends in Australia, you would want to choose this one that I'm highlighting here. But also really important to note that if you have any colleagues or any students that want to transcribe from any language other than English, they too can do that. So everything that we're going to demonstrate with transcription turned on for English can be replicated in other languages also. I'm not feeling very adventurous, Eleni, unfortunately, so I'm going to leave it on the English UK, and I'm going to jump back into my Google Classroom here.
And we've also had a couple people, John, from New Zealand join us as well. So there's also
lovely.
the New Zealand transcription there as well.
Thank you. Oh yeah, there is as well. Yeah, and we I should add as well is that we've actually added a couple of language recently, which has been based upon requests from our users all over the world, including some of those folk in New Zealand. So welcome to those. Thanks for sharing that, Eleni. So I'm going to go into my private comments just over here on the right-hand side, and I'm going to do something new. So I'm going to say, please, could you make sure that you listen to all of the feedback before our next class? Thank you. This time, rather than just posting it, I'm going to click on the pencil icon, and I'm going to get an opportunity to see my transcript in just a second. And you will see that that has transcribed what I just said perfectly. Okay. If I did need to change it, no bother. I can just tap in the text box and I can start to change it. Now, before I pass over to Eleni, I'm just going to show you something called Mote Book. So I can just save this, and I'm going to call this, let's go for Vic PLN, right, Eleni?
Correct.
There we go. So I'm going to save that here. I'm going to exit. I'm going to post this to Dwight. But what I can also do is I can jump onto another student's piece of work. And if I want to save a bit of extra time, I can use my Mote Book to save time here as well. So I can jump down here. Oh. And what I'm going to do is a little bit like Google Classroom's comment bank. So you can actually reuse comments in more than one place just to save you a bit of extra time. The benefit of Mote Book being is that you can use it anywhere that you can leave a voice note. It hasn't just got to be within Google Classroom. So you'll notice I've got the icon down here. I can long hold on it, bring up my Mote Book. I'll find the one that I'm interested in, Vic PLN. And now I can share that with this particular student. However, Eleni, did you know that Michael's preferred language was actually French? So what I can do is I can go over here and I can tap that to French. Straight away, that has translated the transcription into his preferred language, which is French, as I say. I can save that and share that with Michael. Unfortunately, he's still going to get my voice speaking to him, but at least he's going to get that transcribed into a language that is more accessible for him. Okay.
And John, this is a really handy little thing. I know a lot of French teachers here, we rely on exchange a lot. So over our summer, a lot of students would go over to Europe on exchange, particularly for the final years of school. And obviously due to the current world situation, that hasn't happened. So to immerse students, a lot of teachers are using it and speaking fluently in French to students and giving them that translation back in English, which is really, really helpful. Especially at my school, we have a lot of EAL students, particularly with a Chinese background, and just building up that way we communicate with our students and that accessibility to support them in their learning, I think is really, really powerful by using that transcription and translation feature. So definitely, if you haven't checked it out, definitely try. And that is part of the unlimited features that everyone will get access to today. Just wait for that code and then you'll get 3 months access.
Yeah. So I can actually see, Eleni, that I think that I've slightly stepped on your toes, and I think that you were going to be sharing. So yeah, so I do apologize about that. Shall I jump onto STEM mode?
Yeah, you jump into that, and then I'll jump in and share some slides ideas with everyone.
Perfect. Okay, Eleni. So we've looked at a few features there. So we've seen how we can provide basic voice feedback. We can translate those voice notes, and we can also transcribe them. Okay, I'm going to take things a step further now. We're going to look at something called a STEM mode.
And while you're getting your screen up, John, I'll just let everyone know that you can record a Mote anywhere within Google Classroom. So whether it's on the stream in Classroom, whether it's instructions on an assignment, or giving feedback back to students. So Mote works across the whole classroom structure. Which it didn't do that last year, which is a new feature for those who were using it last year and are jumping back on now.
And that's a great point, Eleni. Thank you. Yeah. So and that just really adds to the power of using your voice as well, as it just means that you can have those clickable cards throughout Google Classroom. Okay, so I'm going to do as I did before, and I'm going to jump up to the Mote icon here, and I'm going to make sure, as I had voice transcription turned on, I'm also now going to make sure I have STEM mode turned on. So the thing with STEM mode, which is really cool, is what happens is as we are speaking, Mote will start to transcribe. But if it picks up there's any mathematical equations or anything that thinks that might be turned into a formula, then it will do that for us. The best way to explain it, I think, is with a demonstration. So I'm going to click on this this piece of my Google Doc here, go to comment, and I'm going to start to record a Mote. And you'll see that when I'm recording it, or when I'm actually leaving my voice note, is that I don't have to say anything. It will just pick it up as part of my general conversation. So here we go. So just like before, I'm going to go tap on the Mote icon and start to speak. You've made an excellent start to this worksheet. Please could you take another look at the last question? 8x squared plus 7 equals 0. I'm again going to click on the pencil, which allows me to review the transcript. And in just a second, I've got this transcription box I can click on to edit. So just as we saw previously. But how cool is this, Eleni? I've got this editable equation that I can click here. So this is Mote's own scientific notation editor. And basically, any change that I make in this little box below will automatically reflect in the box above. For example, you would have noticed, I'm sure, that I made a slight mistake when I was leaving my feedback. So I'm going to change that to a minus and automatically reflected above. I would then save this, exit, and as before, I'm going to comment that, press on comment, and it's going to transcribe that. It's going to provide my student with the voice note, but also with the transcription and with the formula there at the bottom of that box. Wow.
I absolutely love this. I know a lot of secondary teachers in particular. I'm primary, but a lot of secondary, when I show them that is just amazing for all of them. And I've had some who are in the BCE, so in the final years of school here in Victoria, and they've actually been getting kids trying to test it as far as it can go. And the way it can transcribe and create those scientific notations, it is amazing. It's pretty much as accurate as you can get. So I know they've been loving that, because even giving extension problems, trying to type them out is always difficult. So if students have done work, they can just record and give them extension questions just through verbal feedback, which is such a big time saver in the classroom whenever you're using it as well.
Wonderful. So Eleni, would you like to jump on to sharing some
Yeah.
Google Slides?
Easy. I will share my screen now. Alrighty. So you can see my screen now, John?
We can.
Perfect. So as I said before, I am in the primary classroom. So being in this remote setting is always really difficult, particularly for our younger students. I think whenever we give them work remotely, it's always hard to have them read instructions, as many can't actually read yet or aren't at the level to comprehend and understand. So we rely a lot on parent support during this time. And I know, being the 4th lockdown, for a lot of parents, it's quite difficult, especially when you are working. But even when you're in the classroom, I know if you give instructions to your class and then you explain all the activities and they go off to do it, and the amount of times they go, what am I doing again, by the time they get to their desk. So I'm going to share some little tips and tricks using Mote within Google Slides and how that will help you as a teacher and your students in the classroom. So within Google Slides here, I've just set up a virtual classroom here. So I've inserted myself there, saying hello to my students with a little plan of the day. Now, I have always loved using audio and trying to insert it into slides, and as many people know, it's not the easiest thing to do. So you can go up to insert, select audio, but you have to create an audio file, upload it to your Google Drive, and it becomes way too many steps and quite confusing to get there. But once you have Mote installed, you'll actually see the Mote icon appears up here in the right. And when I click on that, I can actually record my voice. So I get this box that pops up, and you can move this to allow you to see what is on your slide, and then you can simply record your message. So happy Monday, preps. I'm so excited to see you today. We've got a exciting day planned, and I can't wait to get started. You'll click on each of the icons to see what you need to do. So right there, I was a bit all over the place. I could easily go back, delete that, and re-record it if I want. I can listen to it again, and I can go back. So I'm happy with that for this example. I'm going to insert that into my slides. So Mote works its magic behind the scenes, and what it will do is it will insert a little audio sound icon here. Now this icon, you can actually go up and replace the image just like you can do with other things. I can find another image online, but what I want to do is I want to hide this behind my face on the computer. So if I go down, I can actually just click on transparency and turn that on. So now I've hidden that behind the computer. So when I go to present this to my class or embed it on our class blog or a class page or website, however I've got it, or send the link to parents, once I go to present this, it will come up, and when you hover over, students can simply click Happy Monday, preps, and listen to that audio recording. So I could insert multiple ones here with instructions for what students need to do. Now I've just stopped sharing by accident, John. I clicked the stop share instead of the exit the slide presentation. I always do that.
That's absolutely fine, Lenny.
Alrighty, there we go. So that's a really quick and easy way, because I know when we have our morning meetings with students, we explain the tasks for the day, but of course they can't remember that. So when it's whatever time during your day, they can go back, listen, and hear what it is they need to do. So a really quick and easy way that you can provide instructions. And even when you go back to the classroom, you could set up your maths activities with 4 little boxes. Students can go back, click, and listen to instructions. So lots of fun and easy ways that you can do it. In saying that, a little assessment here I've set up for younger students. So here I have explained to them prior to them going back to their desks, they can simply click on the Mote voice recording and listen to the instructions of what to do. Then on each slide, they will see that button. It will provide them with instructions on what to do. So as a teacher, I will explain this task to the whole class. They can then go back to their desks, pop on their headphones, and complete an assessment. And the thing I love about this is this question here asks them to name the rectangle and tell me how many there are. Now, for a lot of students, that would have been a written question, but for a lot of junior students in their first year or 2 of schooling, can't read yet. So as a teacher, a lot of these assessments that we want to do have to be done through conversation. Now, having conversation with 20 to 30 odd children in your class takes a lot of time, and to ensure that everyone else is on task while you're doing that is quite hard. But you can actually have your students simply click on the Mote button, record themselves, and embed that in there. And what a great way when you have parent-teacher conferences to actually have parents listen to their child to hear their responses to various questions. So a simple, quick, easy way to enhance the way that you might do assessments in your classroom, but also if you are in the remote setting, to provide instructions on each slide of what students need to do, and they can provide that feedback directly on the slide back as well. Another little example I wanted to share was creative story writing. Now, this is a book called Float, and I absolutely love this story. Now, this story is a book with no words in it. And I remember when I first shared this with my Year 6 class, and they all looked at me and they said, "Why aren't you reading?" And I said, "You've got to take in the story for yourselves." And at the end of it, we discussed what we thought the story was. And it was so interesting to see all the different perspectives of how each student had interpreted the pictures. So we then went ahead and students all wrote their own collaborative stories. So each student was assigned a slide or an image, and then they wrote their story. And what I then had them do was record their voice reading that story. And this is a great way to sort of share stories that students read as well. So by doing this, and this is something we did when we returned to on-site at the beginning of the year, students created stories, and what I then did was I created a link into a QR code and I hung these on the school fence. The reason I did this was parents weren't allowed into the school grounds, as many of us will know, and I imagine it will probably go back to that once we are back on site. But for our parents, they have had such a big part of their child's learning through last year with the remote settings and everything, and they like to know what's going on and hear the stories and hear the work going on. So by putting those QR codes up and around the school outside, parents could then scan them and listen to stories written by the students. And this was a really nice way to sort of keep parents connected to the learning and also to see what was happening inside the school. Now that they weren't allowed in, they could still see the work taking place, because a lot of them, their feedback was, I felt like I knew everything that was going on, and now I sort of don't get to see the day-to-day running of the school. And, you know, it's really nice to keep that relationship with parents. They have had a big input into their child's education this past year, and us as teachers are so grateful for their help and support. The final little one I want to share with slides is exit tickets. Now, I love exit tickets, particularly at the end of a lesson, to get a bit of reflection on how the students went and what I need to do next to support them. So I typically had students do this, but in doing it, I sometimes found that getting them to write a response would take longer than the actual lesson would take. And it was meant to be like a quick thing that they did in like 1 or 2 minutes before they went out to recess or to the next class. So what I've done here is I've just set up some templates here with sentence starters. Students can simply upload a photo of their work or take a snapshot of their work and pop it in here. Then simply click on that Moat button and answer and insert that voice recording. Takes no longer than 10, 20 seconds, max a minute 30 as the recording takes, but a quick way that you can capture how the student went that lesson and some feedback on that as well. And I think that's me for slides. I hope a lot of people have got some ideas there on different ways to use slides, but I think slides is definitely my favorite way to use Moat. The way it just embeds in there and you can share it with anyone. Even doing parent newsletters or getting students to write newsletters and sharing that out is really amazing. You can embed it on websites, blogs, etc.
Thank you so much, Annie. That was really awesome to see all of those wonderful ideas. I have actually shared there at the bottom. I've just put a banner up to say that we've got a learning hub that we are creating, that we are populating all the time. So if you would like to see these templates and more, we will do our best to put all of these on by, let's say, within 24 hours. But if you go to learn.justmote.me, you'll be able to get all of these templates. You'll be able to see lots of other ideas for how you might be able to use, or how you might want to use Moat in the classroom, not only with your students, but perhaps with your colleagues as well. So thank you for that. I know that from our conversations, Lenny, that Moat for slides has been, you know, that you said instantly that that you could just see that there were lots of applications that came to mind straight away when that was shared. So thank you for sharing a few of those with us today.
No problem, John. And you're going over now to share a little bit of Moat in Forms, which only came out, it was about a month ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to share this. This actually came pretty much exclusively because of teacher demand. There is a site which I've put into the comments. If you go to bit.ly/Moat requests, then if there's anything that you think might be missing from our current feature set or any of our integrations, if you put a comment in there, then you have the opportunity to upvote others as well. And this is exactly how Moat for Forms came to mind and became a priority for us at Moat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through Moat for Forms in its most basic form. So here we are. So I've created this simple form here, Aussie Ed Demo. The first box at the top I've just done as I would have done previously. So I've put in a name and the opportunity for my students to respond as a short answer. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something a little bit different, and bearing in mind that there are lots of different ways that we use forms within our own schools, This is just one example, and I'm sure all of you will come up with, with 100 different ways of doing it. So in this case, what I'm going to do it for is like for a daily check-in with the kids I have in my advisory group, or as we say over here, in my mentor group. So I'm just going to say, how was your day? And I'm going to go down here. I'm actually going to switch this to a short answer. And this is when I'm going to use the Moat button. It will start to record straight away, and I'm just going to let my students know, just for a bit more accessibility, but also for that personal touch. Please could you use this response just to let me know how your day's been and what your hopes are for the rest of the week. Thank you. Tap on done. And you'll notice I've now got the URL to the Moat has appeared in the description of this question. I can remove it if I'd like to, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm going to tap anywhere outside of this question, and you'll see what it's done is it's put this into a clickable card format that I'm sure that we're now familiar with. So I'm going to toggle on required, and now this form is ready to go. I'm actually going to, as I know that we always should, I'm going to jump on to how it looks from the recipient's perspective now. So this would be for, in this case, as I say, it's being shared with my students. So I'm going to take on the role of a student. I'm going to choose a name at random. So I'm going to go for Albert. Make sure I spell my name correctly. And I'm going to jump down here. So the important thing to note, well, there are a few important things to note. Now, because I've got, as a student, because I've got Moat installed, when I click on the voice card here, please could you use this? It's going to play back from within the Google form. If I didn't have Moat installed, no bother, it would just open the voice note up in a separate tab, and then I can come back to the form to answer this particular question. But what's really cool about this is that if your students do have Moat installed on their browsers, they can actually respond with voice as well. So here we go. I've had a great day today. Really excited to see what happens in the rest of the week, and also counting down for the Euro 2020 Football Championships, although it's being held in 2021. So I would go click on the done, and I could listen back to it as a student, but I'm just going to tap on submit. So that has now been sent in, and I'm sure already there are lots of you thinking of all the different ways that you can use audio within your Google Forms. So when I look at it as a teacher now, and I have all of my responses coming through to Google Sheets, this is really wonderful now. So just imagine that I'd set up a really long Google form with lots of options and lots of questions for my students to respond to. So lots of rows and columns would appear in my Google Sheet. So I don't actually have to go and click open lots of other tabs. If I've got Moat installed, all I need to do is to hover my mouse over a particular voice note, and then I can play it back from the exact cell without leaving Google Sheets, just like so. I've had a great day today. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Eleni back just to see if we've got any other questions coming through or thoughts about using Moat for forms. Hi, Eleni.
Hi, John. I must say that is just the best way. Whenever students now do questions and things, you don't have to go through. And I remember when I used to have my Excel spreadsheet and I'd have to like spread it and look at it, and it would take forever. Now I can just simply click and listen, and so much quicker than reading. It's such a time saver as well. So yeah, it is amazing the way, and it's so good to see in the community how many different ways teachers are actually using it. And as we've already said, jump on, follow us on Facebook, join our Moat teachers to see how everyone's using it, to get some more ideas. You know, you and I are just two people here, but there are so many ways that people can use this, and we love seeing from the community different new ways as well. So yeah.
Of course. Perfect. Thank you, Lenny. And if anyone here has any wonderful ideas about how you could use Moat for forms, or indeed any of our other integrations, please just drop it into the chat, because we would love to hear those. So what I'm going to share now is something that was launched just a couple of weeks ago, and this is called Sticky Motes. So the idea being is that you can record voice notes outside of Google's ecosystem, and then when you share them with someone, they are actually taken to the original context in which you created the particular voice note. So as we've seen before, the best way of explaining is with a demonstration. So I'm going to go up here. This is Stanford's D School, and I'm going to start to record my voice note. I'm going to record my voice note using something called Motepad. Motepad basically is a voice recorder that operates out of the extension itself, just as you can see here. So when I click on record my note, hi guys, before next class, please could you take a look at this website and then share with the rest of the class your top 3 takeaways. Thank you. Automatically, you'll see that that URL has been copied to my clipboard. So let's imagine that I've shared it with my students. They would then, when they click on the link, this would happen. If they've got Mote installed.
And John, this works really well if you aren't using Google Classroom or any of that. If you use Teams, or if you use a different LMS like Canva or Schoolbox, or any of the other ones that we have, you can simply copy and paste this in, just like John has, into whatever LMS you're using. Students can click on it and it will open it just like it is about to do right now.
That is a great point. Thank you so much, Lenny. Yeah. So so here I am. So I have clicked on the sticky note that's been shared with me, clicked on the link rather, and now I've got this sticky note that is up here. So what I can do is I can move my sticky note around. I can play it back. Hi guys. I can look at the transcription. I can even close it down. So I think that I'm, that I understand what the teacher has asked of me. So I can now start to explore the site. I can go around and actually, before I return to share my thoughts with my teacher and with my class, I just like to make sure that I'm on the right track. So I can tap on the Mote icon just over here on the side. I have this tab, and I can then think, yeah, so let me just start to listen to this. And there we go. So the reason that we call it a sticky note is it is literally that. It is stuck to the page. Everything else on the page and its navigation is just as it would have been previously. But I have this voice note, this Mote card that really helps me understand exactly what it is that the teacher has asked me to do. And for those of you that use Google Jamboard, or indeed, as Eleni said, any other potential like a whiteboard application that you're wanting your students to be utilizing, if I go up here, it works just the same with this. So let's just say, which historic landmark is this? It is the Bargate Centre in Southampton, by the way, which is where I'm from.
I would have no idea, John.
And then I should have set that as a challenge for you and the viewers, Eleni. So here we have. So you can see the reason this is super cool is I still have this sticky note that sits within my, in this case, it's a Jamboard file. But yeah, just as Lenny said, really, really important. And thanks for sharing that. It doesn't matter, like, whichever platform I am using, Google or otherwise, if I am creating a sticky note and I just want to share, let's say, for example, I'm using Adobe Sparkle or something like that, a sticky note will always work there because it attaches itself directly to that URL. So thank you. Right. There we go. That was a quick look at Google Forms and also sticky notes. And I know that you were going to be sharing with us something equally as exciting now, Eleni.
Yes. Now, this part is something I always get questions from teachers. How do we actually know if students have listened to the voice recordings that we have done? So I'll just go ahead and share again. Okay. So over here, if I am in my browser and I simply go up to the Moat extension and click on it, you'll see, just as we just had John demonstrating sticky notes up there, down the bottom you've got my activity and engagement. So by clicking on that, it opens up, and what it will give you is your motised or unmotised. So you are able to filter and see who has listened and who has not listened. You can also change the availability of that voice recording. You can listen to them directly here as well, if you want to know what it was that one specifically was for. But if you go down, you can also share one. So this was a sticky note that I had created the other day. I could share that directly to Google Classroom as well, which is nice and handy. But if I go back a few pages, I'm just trying to find the one I want now. I've done a few Motes in this account. Here we go. So within Google Classroom, it actually tells me who has opened or listened to it, seen it, who has listened to it, and it also has little emojis there. So students can click on they need help or they've understood and actioned it. So this is really handy as a classroom teacher. You can get that insight straight away. You can also search and see particular students and whether they've listened to that feedback. And that's really handy as a teacher. You can follow up with a student before class, see if they've listened to that feedback and given you that response as well. Yeah, so that was just another little thing. A lot of teachers don't know that is there, but it is really handy. Click up here on the Mote extension and go to My Activity and Engagement. So that's that. I think that was all I had left to share.
Thank you, Eleni. Yeah.
Mote also works obviously in Gmail as well, John. I know that Donna was saying in the chat, I could see that using it for teacher communication. And sometimes that's really handy if you want to just send someone a quick voice message instead of typing.
Yeah.
So time's always crucial in the classroom. So you can always use it in Gmail as well. It lives down the bottom. I don't know if we can see it with the banner.
Yeah, I've got it shared now actually. As if by magic. As if by magic, I had it ready to go, Eleni. I would just say that that when we're thinking about the activity dashboard, is that one of the really cool filters that is possible to apply is you can actually, let's say that I've got a meeting coming up with a student. You can actually click on individual students, and then it gives you a record of all of the voice notes, all of the Motes that you have shared with that particular student. And just as we saw demonstrated there, is I would then be able to see whether those Motes had been listened to or otherwise. So yeah, that's a feature that I found really, really popular, really useful for my students.
And just so people know, that was a demo account. So a lot of my Motes don't get listened to, unfortunately.
So let me go here. So this is Gmail. And I've got Mote installed, and I'm just going to start to type an email, and this is going to go back to myself. And all I'm going to do is very, very excitedly is I'm going to tell myself to check this out. And exactly what am I asking them to check out? Well, about using voice notes within an email message. And this is how I would do it. So next to the send button down here, I have a Mote icon. And again, bearing in mind, this is with the extension installed. So I would click to record the Mote.
John, just so you know, we can't see it down there because of the banner you've got up currently.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. What a teaser. So there we are. So I've got my email message here, and when I tap on the Mote icon, the following is going to happen. Would you believe it? It's now possible to leave interactive voice notes in email messages. Try it out yourself. All you need to do is install the extension.
And John, I love what Donna said, and you can actually see if people have listened to your email. Haha.
There you go. Yeah. So this is here, just as we had before. This is a fully interactive Mote card. Okay. Now, I can play it back, I can adjust the volume, but all I'm going to do is, so you get to see it from the recipient's perspective as well as myself as a sender, I'm going to go down here and tap on send. There we go. So clicking up here, I've now got this clickable Mote card that has loaded successfully for me, and I can play back just by tapping on the play icon here. Would you believe it? It's now possible to... There you go. Would you believe it, Eleni? It is now possible to listen to voice notes from within Gmail messages. And I can see that, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that we share this. So just as Donna said, that's a really good point as well. Just in case you weren't sure if all of your messages had been received, you can actually see if your voice notes sent within your email messages have been listened to just by using Mote. Thank you so much for sharing that, Donna. But yeah, this has been one of the struggles that we often have is when we send email messages is spending lots of time worrying about the tone, if it's going to be misunderstood. Just wanted to make sure that we're not we're not unnecessarily using colleagues' valuable time. So why not send a voice note as part of your email message, just to make sure that you really help to build that sense of community and make sure that we're not going to lose any potential understanding there. Okay.
And John, we had a couple of questions earlier. Someone asked about slides, and even if they don't have it installed or if you share it with parents, can they hear it? And yes, they can. That's the best thing about slides. They don't need to have the extension installed. Once you share the slides and they present, it is embedded in there, like if you had a video or anything else, and it would play it directly. So amazing to be able to do that. And also share things with families. I've seen a school do a really nice newsletter, like a class newsletter. They actually have had kids talk in their native language to support their diverse cultures in their community. So you can really support many people and include them by having students record and send messages in their first language, etc. So yeah, it is quite amazing what you can do.
Thank you. Thank you. So I know that we've demonstrated most of the features that we were hoping to cover today. I'm just scrolling through the comments just to make sure that we've answered all of the questions. I can see that a friend of Mote, Cameron, asked very early on, can you record Motes in Google Chrome if you aren't using Classroom? And I think that we covered that. I hope there, Cam, where we were demonstrating the idea of using your Motepad. So that was when we shared. All that you need to do is to click on our extension, top right of your browser, and then just tap where it says click to record a Mote voice note. And that voice note can then be used in a variety of different ways. And as we discussed earlier, it can also be used across a variety of platforms. Eleni, is there any other question that remains outstanding that we need to be?
Not that I could see. I think most of them we had answered. We answered the slides one. Yeah, if anyone does have any questions, pop it in. John and I, even if you think of one tomorrow or the next day when you start using Mote, please reach out to us. John's just put that exclusive code up there for everyone. Please join. You'll get an additional 3 months access to Unlimited, which gives you access to the transcription, translation, all of those amazing features that we showcased here today. Hopefully that code also helps Victorian teachers. I know, particularly now Melbourne, if you're in Victoria remote, you're free to go as you please now. But in Melbourne CBD, if you are in this time, I hope that helps you extend your usage of the free to get all those additional features during this tough time. Yeah, join the community. Please share. Reach out if you have questions. We're always here. Also, any feedback that you have, please just put any requests in the team. We're a very small team, aren't we, John, here at Mote? And we love hearing from fellow teachers and ideas and ways that you use it every day. So please reach out to us if you do have questions or anything.
Yeah, we absolutely are a small team. And I should say, as I always try to do, the team of engineers, their count is only 3. But they do a wonderful / amazing, incredible job of doing their best to respond to all of our user requests from people all over the world. And we've got 1 million users, by the way. So these 3 people do a lot. And the way that they respond and that they try to integrate these features as quickly as possible, shout out to them again for their amazing skills. I can see that there was one question that came through from Joyce, actually. So Joyce has asked, so students can access the Motes, but without having Mote installed, they wouldn't be able to respond. So currently, Joyce, you are exactly right. So for example, within Mote for Forms, students would be able to hear their teacher's voice, but their response would be text only currently. However, we are exploring other possibilities and ways to make the experience that little bit more seamless for everyone. And I'm just going to drop up again there. So we have mentioned it a couple of times. We have a very active community over on Facebook. So there's a little bit.ly short link there. Just go to bit.ly/MoatFB, making sure that the F and the B are in capitals. And just before we leave, I'm just going to share one more time this code here. So this code, I should say, is for new users. If you have been using Moat before, but you would still like to get a bit of extra access just to see through the current period of lockdown, please just reach out to us through our social channels and we will be as accommodating as is possible. We want to make sure that, we're all very aware that these times are super challenging, and we want to make sure that at Moat that we do all that we can to support everyone. So even if you have used Moat before and, when you click on this link, you're not getting the 3 months, please just send a direct message to the team at Moat, or you can reach out to myself or Eleni through our own Twitter handles or through other socials, and we will do our best to sort something out for you and for your colleagues as soon as we possibly can do. Okay.
And also, in saying that, if you do experience Moat and fall in love with it and you think this is something that you want to get for your school, please reach out to the team as well, John, myself, or the team directly through the website. We are more than happy to help set up the school, to get them using it, to support you all as it is. So yeah, please reach out. Any questions, anything at all, we're always here. And thanks, Donna, for your lovely message. I know that you guys at UTB are big fans of Moat as well, and we support you guys, and you guys give us great feedback from teachers as well. So if you do have anything, I know a lot of the languages have come from them as well, so we're directly working with teachers in schools. So if there is a language that you want us to add, please let us know and we can get the engineers to add that to Moat for you.
Awesome. Okay, Eleni. Well, I think that we've covered everything that we were hoping to cover, responded to the questions, and there have been some great comments and some lovely shout outs too. So thank you all for that. Please feel free to share this video with anyone that you think might benefit, and look forward to connecting with you all in the future as well. Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy.
Okay. Bye, guys. Good luck. Cheers.
Bye.